Welcome to all who want to reclaim your inner bitch. We are three bitches on a mission to shift long-held societal norms and perceptions on taboo subjects women tend to sugarcoat or let slide because of preconceived fears or repercussions from the good old boy system. Please join us on our journey of self-growth, embracing women's empowerment while loving our counterparts, destigmatizing slang words, addiction, recovery, and discovering how to break societal norms and to live our best lives authentically. All right, let's dive into this episode.
Welcome back, everybody. We're so grateful to be with you today. As you can tell, we have a new studio that we're in. So we have been blessed with being able to be in this amazing energy here today, sharing some amazing things with you all. And we want to check in. So let's just dive into it. How do you guys feel about that?
Awesome.
So the last while since we checked in, just doing summer stuff, not doing anything major. I've had a lot of personal growth, and personal growth can be really challenging.
Absolutely.
To say the least. I had a place where I typically don't allow myself to go to very often, and that was, I wanted to give up. I wanted to give up. I wanted to give in, and I sat in it for about probably 6 hours.
That's a long time.
And then I just went, why is this serving me? What do I need? What do I need to do differently? Because this really doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve anybody else for me to be like this. So I just had to look at that. And luckily, I had somebody that gave me some information that I was able to process differently, and went, okay, I'll look at that. And then I was gifted with an amazing person that came to see me, and with that, it was able to show me that, like, my gift that I have of helping others process through their stuff, I can't give up. I can't give up because I would be being selfish, because I have the ability to help people walk through some really horrendous stuff, and it's not fair if I don't do that.
Yeah.
So I can't be selfish. So I kicked it out, and it's no longer dragging me down. So that's my check-in. Kind of heavy, but it was really good learning.
Yeah.
Really good growth for me.
Well, quite honestly, it kind of feels good to know that you actually have a struggle once in a while. She's human. No, yeah. I'm not saying that I'm happy, but it just, I think it makes it feel more real.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and I appreciate that, because sometimes, I don't know, it just feels like when I look at you or think of you or the healing or anything, I'm just like, man, how does she do everything? She knows all the skills. So once in a while, it's like, oh, she's human too.
Well, I do have a lot of skills, but it doesn't mean that in the moment when the emotion gets to you, like because every single one of us have like things that we're working on deep down that will resurface, even if you've made a lot of progress and even if you've healed in a lot of ways, it doesn't mean that it's not going to resurface and you have to go to a deeper level with it. And so even sometimes it's actually worse sometimes when you do have the skills, because then you're like, well, why am I doing this? Why can't I move just through
Why
this?
am I feeling like...
And the reality is we have to.
We're meant to.
Well, I mean, you and I had the conversation on Monday as we were talking about some things that, how boring would it be if everything was just like copacetic and happy all the time? Like, realistically.
It would be boring.
It would be
the happy
boring.
place. That's a great show.
It would, I mean, we like to believe that we want that,
Right.
and that it would be amazing. But as human beings, we need the highs and the lows. And if we don't allow ourselves to go to the highs and the lows, we can't make any more progress. So, I mean, sometimes it's harder when we do have the skills because we beat ourselves up even more. Well, why aren't you just using the skill and getting through it? Yeah. Well, sometimes I have to sit in it too.
I'm laughing because when we did our session yesterday, when you called, you said it's been a heck of a day or something like that.
It's been a hell of a
Yeah,
day.
it's been a hell of a day and something. How are you? She said.
I want to move to you. Let's focus on you.
And it was just funny. I was like, no, we're going right back to you.
Julie's like, this is fun.
Wait a
I was
minute.
like, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Back it
Because
up.
I get to know a little bit of personal stuff about you, you're going to share with me. What's going on, bitch?
Yeah, that's how we work.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all gotta hold space for each other.
Yeah. Well, and I want to share something that, like, I had told you Monday when we were traveling together. Like, it's been a really heavy week for me. Like, there's been a lot of emotional things happening in my life personally this week, and I wanted to share with you that, but I couldn't because I had people in the car that didn't know anything about it. And so
There's a time and a place.
Yeah.
when we have our people there that we know we can share with,
It's hard.
and we can't share, it feels it like permeates the whole space.
You can feel the energy.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we got ready to come today, and I said something, you were like, oh, how do I ask if not asking because we still have a person here? And I was like, oh, she knows all about. We can spill now.
Okay.
We can spill the tea now. But that's nice too, is to know that you have people that you can say, hey, I have something really heavy, but I can't talk about it now, and know that they're gonna hold the space for you now and
Later.
when you can actually spill the tea.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So I think it's pretty awesome that we have each other and we can share some of those things with each other. And that we can look at each other and go, wow, you did amazing at that. Or, oh my hell, you're human. Yeah.
Yeah, it is nice to know. There's times where you look up to people and they're like, oh, and then when you see they're not like this awe all the time, you're like, oh, even they're human. Okay. Yeah. And it's nice because we all have our ups and downs and our light and our heavy days.
And sometimes really
I had
heavy.
mine a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I think you're next.
Oh, for check-in?
No.
Oh, I've been living in a non-stop every day. That's what it feels like, at least.
Well,
Actually, not right now, but.
Well, it
heavy
doesn't need to be a next either.
Yeah.
well, and heavy looks different from
Yeah.
every angle. So what's heavy for me might be a breeze for you guys.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
So heaviness just looks different for each one of us.
Yeah.
So that's my check-in.
All right.
I'm over it. I'm working on the upswing again.
You're on the up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now it's Julie's turn. Yeah.
Oh, my turn check-in. Let's see, what's been going on for me? I don't know, I've just been working for myself, and I'm like trying to learn how to battle that internal dialogue of I need the consistency of a paycheck. But I'm loving the freedom that I can schedule and do things the way that I want and how it works for me and my family. So that's been really awesome. But I guess the challenge of that is just that mental block for me.
I agree. And like we've talked about, that's a huge block for me because my worth has always been tied to my paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is my worth doesn't have anything to do with my paycheck. And neither does my safety. And I think maybe if you look at it that way and start redefining your safety, you know, what the big thing that I look at with that is every single one of us. I mean, you are a very capable, badass, strong bitch.
Yes, you are.
And you will make it work no matter what happens. And we forget that,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And we don't let higher power do its magic.
Mm-hmm.
Then we
We live in fear.
Yeah.
You can't serve two masters.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's what I've had as far as I got my 1 year sobriety.
That is huge. Let's not downplay that.
was big. I think the 3 weeks before the year, I was done. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, and I think there was one day that I talked to Jess. I was like, nope, I don't even care. There's no point to it.
She was checking out.
Which is really, really
And it was
typical.
right before, which is totally normal.
Yeah.
Anybody that I know that has years, and their goal is long-term sobriety, you do get a year itch. You get your birthday itch. You get your...
It doesn't ever go completely away. It just changes how it looks.
Yeah.
So even for me, there's times when I'm getting really close to that year mark again, that my energy shifts, and sometimes it takes me a minute to notice my emotional shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like the nervousness, like whatever, and then I'm like, wait, what is happening in that? Oh,
That's what
here's
yeah.
what this is.
It's just a little reminder.
Yeah, it was just weird because it's like the morning that I woke up, that, my sobriety date, that morning, it was like this huge shift in energy, and I was like, wait a second, why does it just automatically switch that? Like a light bulb,
Yeah.
And I don't know, I told Jess the other day, I was like, kind of feels like a pink cloud a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what it is? Your conscious told your subconscious what it could have. Because our subconscious doesn't know what we can and can't have until our consciousness tells it. And that's what holds us back. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Our conscious awareness holds us back from gaining all of the things that we truly want and desire. Because our subconscious, if I was to give it a person?
Yeah,
It would be you. Oh, I don't want to say personalized because that's kind of weird, but if I was to put a person on a name, a face to it, it would be Jessica. It would be that. What are we doing? How are we doing this? Are we ready to go?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Because you're with the three of us, you are that person that's usually like, oh, that's totally doable. Let's do it.
Yeah. Right now. Let's
And we're over here like, are you sure though?
Let's look at all the facts and the figures.
My human design is I'm all sacral and it lights me up, and that's my yes. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go, bitch.
Yeah. So I think that's if I was to put a face to it, that you personify it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because our subconscious really doesn't know it can't have something until our conscious awareness says, you don't deserve that. You can't do that. That's not
Sometimes
for
it
you.
takes a minute to work through that.
I just think it was so weird how for those 3 or 4 weeks, and there was a lot of things that came into play during that time for me that were heavy or hard or whatever, maybe for some, maybe not for others, but for me it was hard. And it was just weird how that's all I could think about was, I know how to stop feeling this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's my year date and I haven't even thought about it once. Like at all.
Yeah. And the growth that came with that 3 weeks, can you imagine?
Well, and the awareness of the awareness for you of where you came from and where you're at currently has been huge in the last couple of weeks. Like that place that you never really allowed yourself to see, the aha shining moment, it just seems like it has opened up for you.
It has. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's my check-in.
I love it.
Awesome. And leave it to me to forget the coin that's in your house.
It's okay.
We will be doing this next episode or something.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Whenever it's time, you'll get it. You'll get your shirts and your coat.
Yep.
It just is.
It's going to be beautiful. It's divine timing, right?
Yep.
Thanks for sharing with your check-ins. With my check-in lately, I've been going through and playing with spirituality this month. And what an amazing place to be and to feel and to be curious with and to just open up And it's so fun how everything, I'm in a group that's called Say Yes to Soul. I'm also doing my step work. I'm also doing the three bitches. Like I have all this stuff going on and it always coincides with each other. And it's just so, I love that everything's divinely timed. It just always shows up that way. And why wouldn't it? Why would I expect anything different?
Which is really badass that you're able to see that because you have that awareness and being able, I know for me, before I wouldn't have been able to like notice higher power's hand in certain things.
Yeah.
See how it lines up.
And so just bringing on, like, I have been able to feel the depths in the last couple of months. And I have been able to feel what does job define me? Does my job define me? And I talk about the spirituality aspect. When I stopped working at the facility I was at before, my first official day off, I got another job. So I didn't even get to
feel it.
Yeah, I didn't even feel it. I mean, I felt it emotionally and all of that stuff. But I just knew my higher powers, like, leading me to my next position. And I got to go up to Springdale and get a serving job. And it's at a beautiful, beautiful orchard. And I just get to ground there. And I was, when I'm quiet enough and I go down and do my spiritual practice, which is prayer and meditation, which my prayer is me talking to my higher power, God. And then meditation is quieting down everything to listen, to see what's being, what I can feel, what I can hear, what I can just, however it comes up. And I was just told that offer 2 to 4 days a week, and whatever comes up is what you're supposed to have, and you're going to be taken care of. And it's so funny that I was looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I'm not bringing in money. It's just it's a slow time of year in the desert because it's so hot, right? And no one wants to go out.
Nobody wants to eat.
Yeah, they go out and they get hot. They hike or whatever. They don't want to eat. They don't want to nothing. It's going places with water and whatnot. But so I questioned that for a little bit, and I was just at some therapy. I do couples therapy with my husband because it's such a great idea for everybody. For everybody. And
I recommend it.
He was saying to me, I like to work and I like to provide and I like to do these things to have the extras in life and to make it so that you don't have to. And that brought up for me 2 things. And it was, my old thinking was, you think I can't do it myself? Or thank you. That old thinking, it came. And I was about to say something, and I was able to take a step back and breathe and say, I can see that. Thank you.
I want to commend you on that because I'm still not there.
Yeah.
Like I have not been willing, and yeah, it is willing. I have not been willing to let my husband completely provide for me.
Yeah. And so I didn't know I was there either. And this is why we're at the couples therapy and we're doing so awesome. Like we kind of giggled and where we're at and what we're having help with the therapist is amazing things where we're communicating, we got all this and it's just those little things that we're tightening the bolts and we're tying up the loose ends here and we have a solid ground where we're building from now, which is just beautiful. And so that's part of my spirituality, is being in a place where I feel safe and I trust who I'm with, that they support me and he supports me in the journey that I'm on in life. And that's huge. Yeah. So I've also, going back to step work, I got to write a letter because I had a huge resentment for religion. And when I was able to step back and write the letter, religion, to me, what I found out about it was just a structure. It's a place to bring people together. And wow, that blew my mind because I made religion God when I was younger, and I didn't know. And there was so much trauma behind that it kind of like I'm a whole nother person. Like I'm in a whole different timeline now than I ever have, because things are just flowing out of, like, it's not even the same realm. The things that trauma was affecting me before is now just going out the door, and I'm stepping in as a brand new person and a brand new life.
Which I think is a really good time to transition to our topic today.
Woo!
So I want to talk about, the things that, like, you just can't make this shit up.
You
right?
can't make shit up.
The last while we've all had something that we looked at each other and went, you just can't make this shit up.
You can't make it up.
You can't. And so I think if you want to continue and tell your story, I love it.
So I love human design and Gene Keys, and in my office, I call it my hippie haven. I printed my Gene Key 32 and put it above my doorway because I've been working with this one a lot, and I have it in so many different places in my human design that I put it above my door so I could walk through it and see it every day. And the Gene Key, the shadow is failure, the gift is preservation, and the city is veneration. And I was saying, well, I can walk through failure every day and just acknowledge the failure. Doesn't mean I need to live in it. And in all reality, I set myself up to walk through failure every day.
Yes, you did.
So, but it didn't dawn on me until yesterday. I posted on social media that I was in the river, and I was doing some grieving, and I got home and I got ready for work. I'm getting ready to go work a double, and I go leave my bathroom to walk out, and I hear this crash. So I go into my son's room, and he's like, "What was that?" Totally thought it was in there. So I go in my office, and my frame fell down and just burst all over. So it just broke. And so what I made, you can't make this shit up. So what that ended up looking like was I had a sign, a God shot telling me I don't have to keep staying in my shadow of failure. I wanted to share with you that I got to grieve the old life I was thinking, the thinking that I was doomed for failure, no matter what I did, and no matter what I felt I was good at. I just never thought I could completely just succeed. I don't know what that was. I don't know the feeling. So I laid to rest the old thinking, and the picture I had above my door in my Zen den fell down right before I went to work. My new intuition is I flourish with my gifts that wraps each person I come across with love, acceptance, and safety for them to feel authentically themselves. And just me not being in my, me feeling like I was always a failure, it rubs off to other people. Like, it's not even just me, it's others. So when I'm working on doing these things on myself, I'm also doing it for like
your kids, your husband,
everybody,
anybody that comes in contact with you.
So what a beautiful experience to say, I don't have to stay there. And God's telling me, Jessica, are you done yet? Like, what else do I have to do to tell you? Stop walking through failure.
You're not walking through it every day anymore.
You can't make this shit up. So, yeah, that's mine.
Thanks for sharing that, because like when you told me that, I was like, holy crap, like Yep, you just
Yeah.
can't make this shit
One of my
up.
mentors, Lori, was like, dude, I had a premonition that was going to happen, and you just, it happened.
So funny. So amazing.
What about you?
Well, I have a couple. So I'll share two that just happened within the last month. And yeah, you just can't make this shit up. So my daughter and I went on a trip. We talked about that one of the episodes before this one. And we had a long wait at the airport. The flight was delayed, and so our wait was super long. And we get on our plane, and all of a sudden, like the whole cabin is filled with fog. Like you can't even see the person in front of you. And I'm like, are they putting poison in the air? Are they like, are we inexperienced? Are we an experiential
Something, yeah.
thing that's going on? And all of the people, I'm looking around and everybody's okay with this. And I'm not okay with this.
I'm not. I'm
Just
dying.
me, and I'm like, I'm not okay with that.
I'm like, look at this. And I'm videoing it. And I'm like, what is happening here? So I'm like, Clint's not answering his phone. You answered your phone because you asked me how we were. So I was like,
If I die.
if I die, this is why. This is what happened.
I know, you didn't get off the plane and say you were alive or anything. I had to wait until later that next day or something. I was like, are you alive?
Oh, I texted you as soon as
Did
we
you?
made it to like a
Well, it
safe
felt like
place.
a long time.
It was. Well, the flight was over 5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
That makes sense.
it was
Right.
it was crazy, but it was one of those things that it's like you're looking around and you're thinking, this is like the Twilight Zone. Like nobody's upset. People are just going about their business.
You can't
doing what
make
they're
this shit
doing.
up. It's got thunder clouds
Yeah.
overhead. You
Yeah.
can't.
Finally, I was like, I can't take it anymore. I'm like, what is this? And then they give me some lame ass excuse. Oh, it's the condensation in the air. I'm like, but you just turned off the air and it cleared.
And I love when you're telling it because you're like in the fetal rocking position.
Yeah,
Because it's
I'm
like,
I don't know.
It's too much. And the guy's like, seriously, you're just fine.
Well, there we
And
go. Telling
everybody's
yourself
just
conscious
okay,
that you're
right?
Basically,
okay.
what you said to me for a whole year. You're fine. You're just fine. You're just fine. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Do we know it really happened though?
I know I'm video of it. I'm literally filming it going, watch the cabin get darker. Like, and people are just going and walking around, sitting down, like nobody's upset. And I'm like, what is
She's
happening?
not sure about it at all.
And the flight attendants are like,
You know, I don't quite believe their answer either, so I'm on Team Shalee.
well,
Just saying.
here's why I didn't believe it, because when they do their presentation, you know how they always do that presentation before you take off, the lady's like, and thank you for being calm and patient as we fill the cabin with this mist. And I'm like, so you're aware you're doing this, but yet,
Oh, they did put mist in to calm you down, huh?
well, that's what,
Was it some lavender? I don't know.
it didn't smell like lavender. It smelled a little funky. But my brain did go to the maybe because it is a red eye flight now at this point, maybe they're putting melatonin in the air or
Maybe it helps
something.
with your eyes too.
I
Like,
don't know, but it was.
I hope
it
they
was,
put it on our flight because we going on a trip soon.
It was one of those things. I'm like, you just can't make this shit up. Like you just can't. But the next story I'm going to tell, it just happened a week ago on Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
So we had my daughter is 12, my baby is 12, and I had a lunch date that I was going to, and she was still asleep like teenagers do, she's sleeping at 11 o'clock. And so I went in and I was like, hey, Shalene, you want to go with us? And she's like, yeah. So she gets up, we get to the place we're going to have lunch, and she just very casually looks at me and she goes, oh, my neck really hurts. I was bit by a bat last night. I was like, what? What? Are you sure it was a bat? And she's like, well, I can't be positive, but it was about this big, it was about this thick, it was hairy.
Oh,
And I was like, you touched it? Like, now I'm really freaking out, right? And she goes, well, I tried to hold on to it and then it just left.
Well, as
like,
a bite,
what?
Yeah.
it was reflex, right? Yeah.
So she shows me, and you can see right on her neck,
Oh,
two
just like the Twilight.
two little distinct
Waiting for a
bites.
vampire.
Mm-mm.
And she goes, hey, I'm not upset. I'm just going to turn into a vampire. And I'm like,
Let's just see what happens.
vampires are not real. And you know what? She threw back at me. She goes, Mom, you always say that nothing is impossible because the word itself says I'm possible. So I can be a vampire if I want to. I'm like,
Valid.
well, she's not wrong.
1%.
So yeah. So we went to the hospital, and the doctor met us in the triage area, which I have been to the emergency room lots of times. They never have a doctor in the triage. They always have somebody take you in, do your weight, do your, do all the little things, one of the little texts or whatever, but a doctor's never there. I've never had the doctor. And the doctor comes in, he's like, tell me what happened. And so she's like telling him the story, and she adds something very, very important to it. She said, well, yeah, I grabbed hold of it because I was pulling it off and it wouldn't come off. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. She was like, finally, I just gave up and thought it's going to be attached to me. So I let go of it and it flew away. And so
Its natural instincts was like,
yeah, you're not taking me off. This is where I belong right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the doctor does one of these looks to the nurse. Like, oh shit.
Oh, hell no.
You know? And then he looks at me and he goes, yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying.
That's what we've been telling you. He's like, well, because she didn't have it, because she didn't have a picture of it. We don't know. There's a lot of flying insects. And I'm like, 10:30 at night? Really? You're saying it's a bee?
Yeah.
I don't.
This, it just,
It's not working out.
Yeah. You just can't make that shit up.
Can't make it up. Can't make that shit up.
So now we get the pleasure of doing all of the rabies shot, vaccine, protocol, and we went this week for her third set of shots. And the first thing the nurse says to us as we go in is she's like, I want to hear the story from you. You are the person everybody's talking about right now.
She's famous.
And she's like, yeah, I've decided I don't want to be a vampire. I am now Batwoman.
Yeah. She's on TikTok.
And she goes, and I think whatever the shit, she didn't say shit, whatever the stuff is that they're giving me is giving me superhuman powers.
All
I was
right.
like, there
Absolutely.
you go. Use it.
So, yeah, I don't know why I was blessed with 2. You can't make this shit up within a
In a row,
month.
yeah.
There it is.
I mean, this is like right on the spot sort of stuff. I don't know. I gotta go a ways back. I don't remember because it feels like I have too many of those circumstances
Yeah.
that they just kind of blur together. But I was sitting here listening. I was thinking about this one time we were on vacation. It was during COVID. We'd flown over to Hawaii, and the day we get there is when the whole breakout, like everybody was frantic, the toilet paper, all that stuff. And we had, I think, 18 days there. And that was my first day. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going. We will just buy toilet paper and rice, whatever. We can live on the island for however long. Well, we make it to the last 4 days. And they said, you have to stay on the island or you have
to stay or go.
Stay or go. And so you had to leave by, it was 2 days. And so.
Why did you leave?
Well,
Just kidding.
Honestly, we were looking for jobs.
There was a thing called jobs.
Yeah, and I work in medical, and we really did look, because I was like, I could go to work and I could get all sorts of
Yeah,
hours.
life could be completely different.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so, anyways, my husband says, I think it's probably time that we leave now. And I was like, oh, no, we're not. We will leave the last flight out of here that we have to be back off the island. We're taking this to the end. you know? And so we're sitting there, and our neighbor from downstairs comes running up. And so we had our flights booked and everything, right?
Yeah.
For the very last flight off the island. And he comes running up and he's like, did you get the hurricane warning? We have to flee. We have to go to the tsunami zone. And I was like, what?
There's a tsunami zone?
Now, COVID's not bad enough.
Not
We
just
have a
COVID.
tsunami.
We have a tsunami. And so I look at my husband and I was like, we gotta get off the island. He literally sat there and was like, I told you we should have left 2 days ago. And he just took his time. He took a shower. He just ate a meal. I booked tickets, had everything packed, throwing the suitcases off the balcony, in the car, on the flight to Honolulu in 40 minutes. And I was like, I will not live through a tsunami and COVID. I was like, you just can't make that shit up. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. And also it was like, maybe I should listen to him once in a while.
I just love envisioning him being like, you said the last minute possible, so
we're
I'm just
doing
gonna
it.
take my time.
Taking a shower? I wanted to kill him in that.
I can see her chucking the suitcases down.
I can totally see like the whole, like I was rocking, I can totally picture you. You're like,
Spider flight.
You're never.
putting it all in, shoving
So,
it, like
I
sitting on
absolutely can
it.
see an island real fast.
Yeah.
I'd love to live there, but
No,
that
right
kind of
here.
scared me a little.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's how my flight was. Like, you just don't, like,
yeah.
what the hell? What the hell? Yeah. And that was the same kind of feeling I had when you
Yeah.
were like, why is he calm? Why is he showering? Like, why isn't this a rush?
Yeah, and of course I'm thinking he's teaching me a lesson. Like I got the lesson. We'll listen to you next time.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's awesome.
And your autoimmune system's like an overload.
Mhm.
Like, you probably don't even remember grabbing certain things or if
Oh
you
no,
had anything.
yeah, left
or-
certain stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember the kids were. I was like, get in the car. They're sitting there, and I'm throwing the luggage.
They're watching mom freak out in dad's shower.
Yeah.
Dad comes out and he's like,
Yeah.
where'd the brush go?
Yeah. It's like it's in the car.
I had a pair of clothes to change into. What happened to them?
I have one more quick little. You can't make this shit up.
I love it.
Things. So I think it was like 8 years ago, and I was out at a biker event, and we were raising money for one of them. He was in the hospital and getting close to. He was terminal, and so we were doing an event to raise money for the wife and the family, or he had passed. I can't remember. It was a while ago, and I went to go. Bring my daughter to the bathroom, and the first bathrooms were busy, so we had to go up the parking lot a little bit to a different thing, and they actually had the radio station parked right in front of where we went to the bathroom. And the lady was like, hey, do you want to put in for this? We're doing Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego or whatever. Yeah, if you want to, we're pulling a name at the end of this rap, like the time that they were there, whatever that was, the radio podcast or
The radio shoot.
the shoot. And so I was like, sure, why not? So I filled this out. We bring my daughter, and we come back, and she comes walking back down, and she's like, hey, so we pulled your name. And I was like, awesome. What's that? What's that do? She's like, well, so here's a list of the questions. What we're going to do is you go through and you figure out with these questions where you think Carmen Sandiego is going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a thing. And so I bring it home, and I'm like, cool. And she said, we're going to meet at this one place, and everyone's going to put their guess
Like on a map. Or
on a map. And then whoever went, we'll go from there, whoever wins. So my family and I just had this fun time, and I love that it was a family thing too. We're going, okay, where's this? And my husband, his nickname is Irish. And so it actually ended up being Ireland. So we went there, and there was some people that voted. There was quite a few. There was probably 4 major votes, what it could have been. And so they took the majority of them was Ireland. So they took our names, and I think it was like 16 or 17 of them, and they put them in a container, and they drew it out, and it was my name. So I won an all-exclusive trip to Ireland with one person. Murdoch Travel, thank you. St. George paid for the flights. And It was an all taken care of tour. Like it
That
was
is
the
so
castles,
awesome.
it was everything, and there was only one day that it didn't rain.
That's awesome.
I mean, no, one day that actually got cloudy and rained. Everything else was beautiful.
Oh, nice.
They're like, this is not normal. This you usually have some kind of overcast. The only thing we didn't get to see was the Rings of Kerry, I think it was, but we got to see everything else besides
That's awesome.
Northern Ireland. So we were out for a week, and I won it off the radio station.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and usually when you hear that, like people are like,
Sure.
you did.
I did, and it was
You
awesome.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You can't make that shit
You
up.
can't make
bro.
that shit up. So I'm gonna share one more before we close. So I met my husband at a dance that I wasn't supposed to be at. Didn't want to be at. I was actually being stalked, and I knew that person attended those dances, and so I made sure that like I was not going to go, right? And I met my current husband there that night, and so we started dating, and I was modeling at the time, and so he went to his meetings. He's a proud member of AA, and so people were like, "You look different. Like, what's going on in your life?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I met this."
Somebody.
He's like, "I met this lady," and they're like, "Well, who is she? Where? Like, what? Like, where is she? When did we get to meet her?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, she's. I don't think she comes to these kind of things."
The dance they were talking about?
No,
or the meeting?
AA meetings.
Oh, okay,
He was at
yeah.
an AA meeting, and he goes, "But I do have a picture I can show you." And they're like, "Yeah, I'll see it." And this was back in the day where like cell phones were very few and far between. Like they weren't like today where
Nokia, you had the
everything-
big brick.
Yeah, you pull it out
Yeah.
your wallet.
He's all, check this out.
So it wasn't even that. He went to his car and he always kept a small phone book.
Oh, a phone.
And so he flipped to one of the
Modeling
pictures that I had done. And he's like, "This is her." And all of his friends are like, "Sure it is."
What year is this, and can we get it?
Yeah.
It
We
was,
need one because your daughter's like,
They're
you
out
know?
it was in 1999.
Perfect. We're gonna
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going
yeah.
to.
If somebody can find that for us,
Southern Utah.
we get some free merch.
Yeah, it was, but again, you can't make that
Can't
shit
make it
up,
up.
right? Because everybody was like, sure, that's
You're dating her.
I'm gonna show you the phone book.
Yeah. How long did it take you to find her in the phone book? So
That's
fun
awesome.
facts. So I think we need to throw out a challenge.
Okay.
So I would like the challenge to look a little different. I would like for us to actually hear some of your "you can't make this shit"
Please
stories
share.
up. But also, I'm going to challenge the first person that can have 10 people follow us. We've got some free merchandise for you. And I will even throw in a signed copy of my book.
Ooh,
Awesome.
Girl, I couldn't cry.
The Girl Who Couldn't Cry, A Healing Journey Through Trauma. So, yeah, let's do it.
Who wants some merch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants
Like,
some 3 bitches
subscribe.
merch? Yes,
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Let's do
share.
it. Let's do it. We love you guys, and we can't wait to hear your "you can't make this shit" stories up. So we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, please feel free to rate, subscribe, or leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.